Hello, world. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we always get those bragging rights to all of you watching here on the East Coast. 5 o'clock on Fridays. That's why we do live at 5 right here from my office as I wind down the work week. Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Shore. Thanks a lot for joining here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn Live as well. Another Friday. I think this is Friday number 6. It all started because LinkedIn Live had approved me. And once approved, you have to go on and do a live within the first 60 days. And I realized I was getting down to it, and I wanted to just test out LinkedIn. So I came on at 5 o'clock on a Friday and just started talking to you. And you started answering back and putting comments on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. And I went home and I thought, this is a lot of fun. I really miss talking to people, having good conversations. So here we are. We've had a guest each week. We had the great Jerry V to talk a little basketball a few weeks ago. Last week, we had Rick Scott, a longtime sports radio consultant, but he's now used his artistic abilities to do some creative, amazing things that he has a website for, turning art and wood and rocks into some incredible dining room tables and all kinds of things. So we had a lot of fun on that last week. So what you can do is you can comment below, and I will refer to it like this. Let's test it. There is my longtime friend, Amanda Bowditch. Hi, Amanda. Happy Friday to you as well. Thank you. Murray, thank you. Happy Friday back to you. Glad to see you pop in for the first time watching these shows. And you can watch it afterwards as well, because I know a lot of you are still at work somewhere in the country. But I've got a really fun one today. Each week, we're going to have a very exciting guest. I've got plenty that I'm setting up in the weeks ahead. But I want to bring on a couple of my friends. First, I welcome in Mike Morgan, Kevin Kolbe as well.
How's it going?
What's happening?
We want to talk about, gentlemen, a brand new content project that we have been working on for a long time. And we're going to talk about it right now, and we're going to unveil it.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Well,
I'm part of it.
Want to hear about it?
and unfortunately, the drum roll didn't make the budget, so I have to do a virtual one in your head.
Dave is holding a very long smile.
You know, we didn't cover the what happens when the host is frozen.
No, that's. Can you hear me?
We can now. Yeah, you're back.
That's the first time that's happened.
That was
we
awesome.
call that a pregnant pause, in case you're keeping score at home.
From the palatial headquarters here in my office in downtown Raleigh. So, anybody want to share how the three of us knuckleheads know each other?
Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on which the three of us that you ask, we all ended up working for the same company in a couple of different roles, and got to know each other through several company meetings, group meetings, and then years and years later, just a fortunate kind of reconnect opportunity where we all got together and said, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why don't we figure out if we can do something together? And here we are.
Yeah, I don't have it to put up, but I did post on Facebook to promote this event, this great night of tremendous guests. I posted the restaurant photo when we all came together there at the restaurant to talk about what we could do together.
Yeah, and I think even then we just knew we had something. We didn't have it figured out, which should probably be a lesson for anybody starting something, is that if you think you're going to have everything figured out, then just do something else. But yeah, it was a great night. We kind of solidified it with that picture. And then, wow, year later, something like that, here we are.
Year and 2 months.
Yeah. And you know what? It came up with a tremendous amount of brainstorming to come up with the name. And I'm putting up, you can find us at facebook.com/the31 group. All right. You can also search the 3-1 group and spell it all out, and it'll pull up as well. Right, Mike Morgan?
Yep, that's correct.
Yep, because you can search it on YouTube. What it is we've all been content producers, and everybody knows that if you listen to a podcast, and we all listen to a bunch of them, we sometimes listen to one host, maybe one host and a guest, and they say fantastic things. this time we decided in the 3-1 group for our content that we're producing to bring together Mike Morgan from a sales background, Kevin Kolbe from a video marketing background, expertise, and myself, who I focus on leadership. And so we're going to tackle topics, and we're going to produce those in terms of video content and audio content for podcasts as well. Does that about describe it, guys?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it was one of you guys that made the comment that, all three just work together really well. I mean, in being able to lead and sell and then if you've got something that you want to market and stuff like that, and it just clicks. Oh, look, there we are.
There's if you went to the YouTube channel, you can see various subject materials that we focus on each and every time. So you can do that. We have some interesting topics. Gentlemen, I overcoming barriers to your success was one of the ones we did. The greatest salesman.
Which is Mike.
Ever. Well, I know the greatest Well, I read about the greatest salesman, but I don't know who that is.
No. So it's fantastic. The more we've gotten together, these aren't rehearsed. They're not scripted. No. We take a concept, and by the time the three of us share some thoughts from each of our particular angles, it turns out to be fascinating in terms of how it challenges each other. And then we realize that many of you out there, in some way, shape, or form, hit all three of these funnels that you need, or one of them might just attract you. And then also, we're going to ask you to participate, make comments when you watch them. Please give us some topic ideas. But we're extremely excited. We've been waiting a little while to unveil what we hope will be some great video and podcasts for you in the 3-1 group.
Yeah, that's true. We forgot to throw up the podcast too. But we've actually been producing content since going back to November.
Yeah.
I believe so. It out and then launched the YouTube channel first. And then the podcast is coming along too. And then recently said, well, let's just go ahead and start the Facebook page, working on a website, because we also see this as community. Yeah. It's not like just us, espousing on high from whatever locations we're in. It's building the community so we can all learn together, and then we share, things we're learning, but at the same time learning with each other, just so we can grow better.
Yeah, I think just to kind of put some clarity around what we're doing, Dave and Kevin and I all come at information and problems from different perspectives and different angles. We met for the first time pre-COVID, but when COVID hit, it became even more relevant.
No.
If you're not starting a side hustle, you're thinking about it, or a lot of people are thinking about it. Sometimes your side hustle turns into your full-time hustle. If you were displaced corporately, you're trying to figure out what's my next step. How do I market myself? How do I get back in the game at the level that I deserve to be at, or I feel like I deserve to be at? It could be that you're in your company. There's been a wholesale change inside of the company, and you're trying to figure out, how do I navigate those waters to reposition myself or get that promotion that I'm looking for? I mean, the group in itself it's a really simple concept. If you've got a challenge or an opportunity that you're facing in the world of business, whether it's a leadership problem, a sales problem, an operations problem, a marketing problem, we can help you. It's just, we've all got a lot of experience from different perspectives and from different life experiences. And, the three of us together are, just here to serve. If you're looking for that next promotion and don't know how to market yourself into that position, we got an answer. Yeah. If you don't think you're in sales, you are, and if you think you are, but you're not doing it well, we can help you. It's just a labor of love kind of opportunity for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also because of what we all do in normal daily lives, we experience a lot of things which also lead to this. I know that, Kevin, I look to you even more, but I mean, one of the reasons why I'm doing this show on a Friday night at 5:00 is, in our world at the ALS Association in North Carolina, we depend on engaging with our audience out there across the state on social media. This is a tremendous way for me to test some of the social media platforms. Kevin, when we talk about your area of video marketing, I mean, if people aren't in it in some way, shape, or form, the boat is left. I mean, you're missing out on opportunities.
Yeah, it's left, but it's not too late to start, and I think that may be what keeps people. I think there's a lot of people, a lot of reason folks don't get into video. You know, they're afraid they're going to get the wrong gear. They don't know what gear to get, don't know what the message is going to be, and things like that. Excuse me. And they feel like, well, maybe it's too late. And you know, video has always been dominant, and then this past year, and I mean, it exploded. So, you know, I always say that the best time to start was yesterday, and the second best time to start is today. So, you know, I mean, like right now, I'm on my laptop camera just because I'm, you know, you guys know, but our youngest son is in the hospital, and so I'm actually coming from his hospital room because we have this technology, and so. You know, the best thing is like find your message, whether it's your business or your solo creator or whatever, and get out there. And like Dave said, you know, when he had access to LinkedIn Live, and he was like, and he's got the broadcast background. It's like, well, heck, let's just go live. And then, you know, Mike also has that background too, and so that's, you know, that's why we just started having those conversations and turn them into YouTube videos. And I think that's why it flows naturally, because you know, we're not overly worried about following the script as opposed to hopefully delivering value in the messages.
Mike,
yeah, I mean, look, if
you use all this in sales,
yeah, I mean, everybody's in sales, whether you want to be or not. You're either, you know, you're either like a what do you call it, an announced salesperson, where that's in your title, and a salesman, saleswoman. You know, your job is to convince somebody that you have a solution to the needs that they have, and you know, it's a viable solution, it's worth investing in. You have to learn how to present yourself, present your, you know, product, service, experience, whatever it is that you're selling. But even if you're not in that technical, you know, your title isn't salesperson, selling yourself as an individual is important, and that's where video marketing and just marketing in general and leadership comes into play. You know, so those worlds all kind of fold together. And then really, you know, there's been an explosion in the entrepreneurial space where people were either displaced from companies, you know, through COVID, and needed to find a way to restart their, you know, their economic engine, or just out of a passion project or some, you know, some secondary interest, they decided to start their own company. And I don't care how good your product or service or you know, software is, if you can't sell it, you're not going to stay in business. So everyone needs to understand the fundamentals of sales. They're pretty straightforward, really easy to understand, difficult to do, but accessible for everyone, you know, no matter what your need is. And, you know, from a sales perspective, to me, it's always like, you know, we've got to always be selling. I mean, you know, you're either selling something or you're being sold something, and you can think about in your life how that applies to pretty much everything. You know, you're selling yourself or you know, your value, or someone selling you on whatever it is their agenda is. And you know, if it's done right and done professionally, it's a really, you know, it's a good skill to have.
This is how some of our segments go. Some of our content segments that we do. There are, when you log on there and you like or subscribe, you'll see an intro to each of us and the areas that we like to produce content on. I know from a leadership standpoint, many of you watching may know that I spent many years traveling with some of the most amazing sports coaches and figures out there. And it boils down to one thing. I've been with and traveled with a lot of teams that had a lot of talent that lost. And I've been around other teams that had not much talent and were probably not the best on the floor or on the field, and won it all. And then, you know, and so there's an interesting dynamic by the person who was in charge, or the person that coach selected as the captain on the team that made a difference in that. So not all the companies have the best employees.
Well, you know, David, where our worlds intersect on the leadership and sales side, if you've got the best methodology with your leadership style, and you're in the process of building an incredible, like high performance culture, you've got to sell that. You know, think about the NBA coaches that you've been around, and you know, the programs that you've been around, whether it was with Dallas or the Lakers. You know, no matter how reputable the coach or how successful the coach has been in the past, when he or she comes into a situation, they've got to sell that concept to the people that are also high performers, and your ability to sell that through successfully gets people on board with what you're trying to do, whether it's in sports or business. And, that's where those worlds kind of, they commingle and come together.
I think we're back. Can you guys hear me?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. You spun for a second.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. And maybe somebody could tell us in the comments. I don't know if we lose the entire feed, or if you guys continue and I don't. So, that's what live TV is all about here on the platform.
We're prepared to pivot. Anytime Dave goes dark, Kevin and I are here for your entertainment.
We've been waiting for this moment. See, Dave normally takes the lead on our videos. We were giving him grief, but because of his background, it just made sense. And I think that's what we found out quickly with our 3-1 group is that, when you can recognize other people have strengths that are maybe in areas you don't, let them lead, let them participate, let them do things. And I think sometimes that's probably, there's too many people who want to do it all themselves, as opposed to like, well, Mike is better at this and Dave's better at this, and we can do this. And I think that's what makes it work.
Yeah. Dave, the knock jokes that we practiced beforehand are going to come in handy if you freeze again. So
yeah. Beth, who's watching, she said, no, don't lose the feed. I'm trying. I got the hamsters going on the treadmill as fast as I can here.
Go faster.
Yeah, no, I haven't had that problem. Here's what's interesting. Kevin, and I'll be in the middle of my day here at our ALS chapter, and I'll see that you're going live on Kevin Kolbe Media, and you just come on and you talk about compelling things, but you're real. There's nothing scripted. You're just you, which is why I love working with you as well. What's interesting about this? Tell me what's interesting about this day. We're on YouTube live right now. Tell me what is significant about the time that we've gone through and what has come about on YouTube.
Yeah, so today has been deemed International Creator Day, and there's a company called TubeBuddy, and some people may not heard of it, but TubeBuddy is an extension that you can use to with your YouTube channel. If I use it, it's been one of the reasons mine has grown. There's a lot of different things that it'll do, and they thought, it's time to celebrate creators, because it was on this day in 2005 that the very first video was ever uploaded to YouTube. And I think the folks at TubeBuddy said, well, let's use this. I think, what is that, 16 years later, to just recognize and celebrate creators around the world. So they did an 8-hour live stream today. I live stream every Friday on my YouTube channel. And so I was shouting out some creators that have inspired me. And I think
let's show that first video. There it is.
There it is. It's called Me at the Zoo.
Yeah, that was posted on YouTube in 2005.
Yes. The very first video. And what's funny is when you go into the description, it goes, while you're enjoying this video, waiting on part 2, listen to this music. And so he put a link to some music he did. I have no idea who that is. I recognize the elephants in the background.
Nice.
But it's creating content can look in so many different ways, and it doesn't have to follow a certain pattern. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And I just think today, it's kind of cool that we picked this day to launch. I think even before we hit that, oh yeah, this is International Creator Day, or as I posted, erroneously earlier today on Facebook, Internal Creator Day, but.
That was the other day that.
Yeah, that's a whole different day.
Tomorrow is external day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Go create outside.
Look, I think it's important to, if whoever happens to be watching, part of the opportunity here is, in a live video, we're fully prepared, at some point in the future, if you've got a question, got a situation that applies to any of those categories we talked about, they're pretty expansive. Leadership, operations, marketing, video marketing, and then sales in general. All you got to do is drop a comment in, ask a question. We're pretty, we're like they mentioned earlier, we don't really rehearse any of the information that we put on these videos. We're off the cuff kind of guys. So, again, the mission is like, we're here to help some folks wherever and whenever you need some help. So
yeah, and content does that, because you know what? I learned something on a walk in downtown Raleigh today just by listening to a podcast. It was just gave me ideas that sparked. Let's try that right now. You know, we've got some people. If you want to put a comment up, you know, think of it. No matter what you do, just post one obstacle that prevents you sometimes or stops you in sales, in video marketing, or in leadership. Just one problem, and we'll throw it up on the screen and give some thoughts on it as well, because that's one of our things that we did is living a creative life. How to keep momentum going, process versus outcome. So, you know, sometimes we come in and we bring ideas to each other, and then we just throw it out there and let it go. And there's just so many concepts. And the thing is that if you do one show of a bunch of different ones, it just doesn't stand out like doing one show with one topic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's always been the goal going in, is that it's, you know, what can somebody take away from this? What are actionable items? I mean, are there, you know, how does it inspire somebody to do something else? And I think that's what's been great. Actionable items. I mean, are there great about the group? But yeah, you know, and I see Beth saying in the comments, each person brings something different, something to the table. And that's true. It is true. And I think that's the quality of a team. I mean, years ago when I was creative director leading an amazing creative team that was far more creative than me, you know, I didn't want a team of me's. Ugh. I wanted a diverse team that had different ideas and different backgrounds that would bring different things to the table. And I think that's what made us so good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the creativity is flowing right out of both of you. And honestly, you know, I think we all embody the same idea. And that is, we're not going to let us pass things by. I'll admit that I'm getting older, but I'm sure not going to let it be an excuse, because there's, you know, just you showing that 2005 for YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, think of it. I remember one time, I don't remember what year, it was like 2007 or whatever. I was out at Texas Motor Speedway. I had an intern with me, and we had to find a back way out because of the traffic. I handed her the atlas, you know, the atlas that I had in the back seat. You would have thought I gave her a book of Arabic and told her to read it out loud, because she had never seen an atlas before. You know, you talk about, yeah. I would have never thought we'd be producing video content, even in my first TV station days in the late 80s, you know, that we'd be doing short pieces that people could watch live on an internet that wasn't around in the late 80s either.
Hey, the first TV station I worked at, we did an affiliation deal with the Cincinnati Reds, which was kind of, I mean, I loved the Cincinnati Reds growing up, so it was a big deal. So they sent me to spring training camp to shoot some video. And the camera was the size of a small Hyundai, you know, and then there was the backpack, and I'm walking around in the tripod, and, you know, and now there's this that shoots 4K, and right. I can go live from this, post to this, do slow-mo with this. And I mean, there are movies shot with this.
Here's the tripod, you know, 1/10 of the size of what we had to carry around.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, you can get caught up in the gear, but in reality, it's gotten, it's less expensive. It's more accessible. So therefore it's easier for people to create, I think.
Here, yeah. Beth is enjoying this topic. Let me put up Beth's. I use a sports analogy with my team. If we were a soccer team, we could not win a game if we had all goalies on the team. Yes, don't want a team of mini me's. I build my team with people that supplement the team skill sets. That's perfect right there, both from leadership, but yeah. Mike, in sales, you can't have a team of mini me's, right?
No, you've got to have, you know, you want a team of creative, independent thinkers that all have a different way of going about doing what they're trying to do. You know, in sales, like in life, different personalities connect with different types of personalities, right? So, you know, one of the things that you run into a lot in the sales career is you're not unsuccessful with a particular prospect because you're not skilled enough to sell that prospect. You guys just don't fit personally. You know, that maybe that person is an A-type personality and wants somebody that's just straightforward to the fact, and you're more of a meanderer, and you like to tell stories, and you're slow to get to your points. It's just a personality mismatch, you know, in sales. if you've only got one type of salesperson that works for you, you're only going to be able to sell to the people that resonate with that type of sales approach. You really need a more holistic approach with people that enjoy taking their time through the sales process and are more detail oriented, or granular in the way they explain things and interpret data. Or maybe you need someone that's got more of my personality, that's like, I'll let you know if I need more information. Let's just keep it moving as fast as we can. And, I'll give you the high level value propositions. And if they make sense to you, let's do business. And, there's and then there's a bunch of people that sit in between there.
Willie Nelson, what do you think?
Well, I'm still thinking about Beth's analogy that, if you had all goalies, well, who the heck's going to score? Because all they're doing is defending, and it just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, we all have gifts. We all have different things we bring to the table. And again, I think that's what I love about what we've started and what we're showing the world now, where we can take this, is that, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be a master in all areas, but you can learn from others and grow from others and contribute to others. Because I mean, community is where it is now. I think community was already becoming a bigger thing until the pandemic hit. And then I think community became the thing to focus on. Facebook groups have gotten, even bigger, because I think people clamor to that.
Well, there was a book written years and years and years ago called Tribes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that book or not, but it basically spoke to the need that everyone has intrinsically and kind of internally to be a part of something. And that's only gotten more and more important as technology has given us the ability to connect with more people, but in a lot of cases in a less personal way. I think that that neighborhood connection, everyone that lived in a neighborhood used to, gather, know each other, commune with each other. That doesn't happen anymore. Your neighborhood now is the world. And, but we still have that human aspect of wanting or needing connection. And I think when you find a group of people focused in the same direction or passionate about the same things with different perspectives, you're kind of in the perfect spot for what you're trying to accomplish through a community. Varying perspectives have a lot of value.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, we're always creating content. Kevin's creating content behind the scenes of us creating content.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? To best analogy, let me bring up one that, just having all a certain type on a team. Here's one that kind of fits that. Even the stars, the superstars that from the world of sports, they're not always confident about their own game. And if they stop being them, it hurts the team overall. So let me tell you, 2003 or 2004, I believe, I was with the Dallas Mavericks and we were in the playoffs against Sacramento. And Steve Nash, two-time MVP in the NBA and now coach, he was in a slump. He as good as he was, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with the basketball. And one time after the game, one of the playoff games, I jotted down on an index card, I jotted down the quote from Wayne Gretzky that you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. Mm-hmm. You miss 100% of the shots that you never take. I said, Steve, going through something, but read that. And the next day it was up in his locker. But sure enough, it wasn't because of me. I'm just saying that a guy like that, you can't stay in the mindset that this isn't my series. I've got to back out. If they had him stop putting up shots, they wouldn't have won the next game. But I mean, there's just a concept that the leadership, it all just fits together. I love seeing those.
Yeah, look, I think that folds back to, if you look at the video we created around focus on process, not outcomes. Outcomes are flighty. Sometimes you get the outcome you're hoping for, sometimes you don't. But if you focus on the process and it's a thoughtful and good process, kind of to the point with, or the analogy with Steve, he knows how to play. If he just stays in the process of doing what he's been doing for the last 15 years before that, and doesn't get hung up in the outcome, but stays in the process part of the work that he's doing, the outcomes eventually will take care of themselves. That's the variable you can't control. You can absolutely control your input in the process side.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Beth, thanks for testing that out. If anybody else wants to add a comment, you can add a comment after this, because Live at 5 lives. You can go to YouTube and search Shore Sports Media.
Shore Sports Media, he said. Kevin and I are playing interpreters.
Yeah, there we go. Well, and something I was going to add too that you said is that I did a project a few years ago with a friend, and we were talking about before we were launching it, and one of his big fears going in is like, well, what if nobody watches it? And what if, because it was going to be a video podcast, what if nobody comments? What if? And I finally said to him, I said, the only guarantee I will make you is if we do nothing, nothing will happen.
Yeah, there you go.
Beyond that, I can't guarantee anything. And we actually ended up doing 3 seasons of it. And, and was it successful? I think, you have to find success for yourself. But I think, too many people worry about the what ifs rather than just the what can I do.
Yeah. And
the best thing to do is just start something, and just don't worry about how it may go. Just start it, jump into it.
Yeah, no, guys, can you hear me okay? This is the first time in 6 weeks we've had any glitch at all. So I think that that may be a sign also that I'll start to wrap this one up. But I hope everyone got a chance to see that we enjoy putting things together. We enjoy talking about concepts, but it takes a tribe. It takes all of you to put in some of the topics as well. Let me put up one more thought here. Murray, he's been a leader. I want to be a leader who motivates people. I've seen one coach yell at a guy and it destroys him, and yet another coach will yell and it lights him up. What's the difference? You know what? That's a great point, guys. I've seen a lot of coaches. They know when to push the button and they know when to let off of it. There's some very famous coaches who are completely different in the camera view that you see compared to how they are in practice. But they know there's certain players that can handle it, and they also know the players that just they just curl up and die. They just go into the corner because they can't handle that kind of criticism. So
I think around Murray, around that you have to build the framework for the culture that you're creating, and most times that's a culture of performance. And you set the common vision for everyone, right? So you build the framework, you've got a common vision, and then you lead everyone, to your point, by their own style and personality inside of the framework of that common vision. I had years ago, I had a sales guy that worked for me that was our top performer, one of the top performers in the industry that I had experienced to be around. And, he was a sales guy, extremely successful, but he had his own style. Our work day started at 8:30, it ended at 5:30. Well, he was often working until 9. He didn't like to get to work until 9. The guy's out producing everybody else like 2 to 1. I said, look, hey, you show up at noon if that works for you. As long as your output doesn't change, we're completely good. When I see your timing is affecting the output or the outcome that you're supposed to be contributing, you and I'll have an individual conversation about that. I had other people that if you're not here at 8:32, we're going to let you go, because that's just not, you're not at a point where you can negotiate with me on what your particular style or your needs are. And I think, Murray, I'll wrap it up with this. I think that's the hardest soft skill of a leader, is to develop an understanding that a team is made of a group of individuals who all respond to and are built differently, respond to different things and are built differently. And I think really good dialed in leaders understand that they have to treat people differently based on that person. I was one of those guys as a sales manager. I would tell everybody up front, I do not treat, this isn't an equality situation. If you're a high performing producer, I'm going to treat you like gold. If you're on the struggle bus and you've got great potential, I'm going to give you extra time. If you're on the struggle bus and you're just not even trying, you're not going to get any of my time. In fact, I'm going to help you get out of here because, I don't have time for that. So, real cultures are not built on equality. They're built on understanding individuals and the contribution of the whole, and really managing them or leading them, as individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point, Murray, like they're a real person, not a number.
Bingo. That's it. Yeah. And what's sad about that too, Murray, is that that is such a simple concept that you think everybody would get, and yet so many businesses struggle with it. And it's a shame. Your people should be number one, period. Not your assets, people, number one, and let everything trickle after that.
Yeah. See, this has been a fun conversation, and I was putting up there because Kevin, folks, you have really come around. You put out some
amazing content that you should go and find yourself.
Yeah.
So
I think
you guys
was
know,
going to say,
Kevin,
just
Kevin is our resident star on YouTube. I think he's crested 300,000, 400,000 views at this point, if I'm not mistaken, or we have gone north of that. Yeah.
Just recently went past I think 325,000. But
there you go. Yeah,
it's nice. So yeah, Dave, make sure you throw out the accolades before you pause, because it could have said, Dave. I mean, Kevin is just a bum. Whatever. I do want to show everybody, though, what I looked like before this started. This was actually a picture taken at that restaurant. And just by hanging with Dave and Mike for as long as I have, look what happened.
That's right.
That's the power of the three.
See, I believe in the power of three, and that's why we put three of us together for content. So, guys, I think we're going to say goodbye, because I think the internet bill has been paid up.
It's been great getting together,
and we will see you on future content, guys. Thanks so much.
Take care.
To my guys, Kevin Kolbe and Mike Morgan, and we were excited about putting out content that we hope, and it motivates us to do it as well, because, as I said, folks, I came into the nonprofit world to learn. I didn't come in knowing everything. And I worked with some amazing people here in the ALS Association nationally and here locally in the North Carolina. Okay. I am going to say goodbye to everybody. Please continue to like and subscribe, and we'll do this again next week at 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining on Live at 5. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great